Home means something different to everyone. But with Rocket Mortgage, home can mean even more. It can mean a college education, taming your high-interest debt, even a renovation. We've made it easier than ever to use your home equity. That home you worked so hard for, now it can work hard for you. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to find out more.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states, and MLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
This is the Roger Stone Show, presented by Colonial Metals Group.
A man who's gone through hell, but he's kept going, and he's smart, and he's strong, and people love him. Not everybody, but people love him and respect him. Roger Stone.
Now, here's Roger Stone.
Welcome back to the Roger Stone Show. Joining me now is Patrick Bet-David, an extraordinarily successful entrepreneur and author, but also the founder of the Valuetainment Investments Group, the Valuetainment Media, and, of course, PHP Agency. The Valuetainment channel boasts over 3 million subscribers on YouTube and offers education and entertainment aimed at a global audience of entrepreneurs, startup founders, and, just plain Americans. I don't get a chance to watch many podcasts because I'm extraordinarily busy, but there's one guy's podcast I never miss, and that is that of Patrick Bet-David. Patrick served his country in the U.S. Army with the legendary 101st Airborne. But what impresses me even more is Patrick had a brief stint as a bodybuilder, and I understand the discipline and the stamina and the difficulty of doing that and doing it right. And in his day, I've seen the pictures. Patrick, you had one heck of a physique. I'm proud to have you today joining us on the Roger Stone Show. Welcome.
It's great to be with you.
I should also note that you are the author of multiple best-selling books, and you're a Renaissance man. You talk about a lot of things on your show. I want to start with kind of a broad issue. You often encourage individuals to take responsibility for their lives. How do you see this principle translating into civil engagement today and greater participation in our democracy? Because you've hit the nail on the head. This is extraordinarily important.
Yeah, I mean, the reason for that is if somebody doesn't take responsibility for their lives, that means you don't have any dreams. And if you don't have any dreams, what is the purpose of us doing what we do on a daily basis? We know life goes by very, very quickly. I'm 46 years old. Never did I think 46 years was going to come by this fast. We got 4 kids now. My kids are 12, 11, 8, and 3. And we just had a meeting with the insurance company that I sold, and was with the executives the last 2 days. And sitting there talking to each other, and we're like, guys, we sold a business 2.5 years ago. Feels like just yesterday I started a business at 29, 30 years old. So, no, to me, the responsibility concept is this. If I sit down with somebody, when you think about America, we say the American dream. We don't have the Russian dream. We don't have the Chinese dream. There's no such thing as the Iranian dream, the Brazilian dream, the Guatemala dream, the Canadian dream. There's only the American dream. What is the American dream? It's about dreams. You know, who do you want to be? What kind of a life do you want to live? Do you want to go help somebody become somebody? Do you want to go be a supporting cast? Do you want to go be somebody that builds a big family and you're selling division to your kids on who they could be one day? If you don't have dreams, how do you sell dreams to your kids? And let's just say you do have dreams. What is the only way our dreams can become a reality? By us taking responsibility and finding out what areas we have to improve in, whether it's how we deal with people, our work ethic, our stamina, our energy, our strategy, the way we think, our friends, our associations, the way we make money, the way we increase our market value. All of that stuff is a reflection of dreams. So if we get more people dreaming again, then automatically we can get people to take responsibility. And I'm not talking about a dream one day where the government's going to take care of you. I'm not talking about a dream one day where Social Security is going to take care of you. I'm not talking about a dream one day that, you're getting these Section 8's going to take care of you or any of this stuff. I'm talking about your actual dream of who you want to be and the life you want to live. We get people dreaming again. I think more people will be inspired to take responsibility again.
Patrick, in a very interesting recent discussion on your show, you mentioned how banks are offering to rebuild some of these countries for astronomical amounts, $400 or $500 billion, knowing that repayment ultimately is unlikely. So when you consider Ukraine's situation, what do you think the broader strategy or end game might be for these financial institutions? Why are they prepared to do these things?
Well, it's the same as when you go to a relative and you ask for a $100,000 loan. And your relative says, you want $100,000? Yes, I'll give you $100,000 if you give me that old car you have that's a Eleanor that's worth $250,000. Let me put it in my garage. If you don't pay the $100,000 back to me within 2 years, I keep the car. No problem. I'm going to pay it back. Great. It's called a way for me to know I'm going to get my money back from you, right? Okay. We do this when we're trying to get a loan from the bank, when we're trying to get a loan from the Goldman Sachs, the Morgan Stanley. You need a collateral. Well, these countries are coming in, and these banks are coming into these countries, and it's been a business model that's been around for a very long time. A guy wrote about this, a guy named Perkins. He wrote a book called The Economic Hitman, where you go to a country and you say, hey, I'm representing a very, very big bank in America. That bank is willing to come and invest $20 billion into your country. And if they come in, they're going to create jobs. They're going to create a lot of good things for you. But if you don't pay that $20 billion back, we're going to own the rights to certain natural resources, or we're going to own the right to this, or we're going to take the money from oil, or we're going to take the money from this. So when I believe it was JP Morgan Chase and a couple of the bigger banks went out to Ukraine and they said, hey, we want to help rebuild Ukraine after war, and it's going to cost us $400 billion to rebuild. These banks are sitting there saying, that's phenomenal. Imagine how excited a loan officer gets when they get a customer coming in saying, I want to buy a house and I need $1 million loan. Great. Imagine how excited the bank gets if a business comes in and says, we need a $10 million loan or a $100 million loan. They love this because it's interest on their money. But imagine if a customer comes and knocks on the door and says, hey, we would like to get a $400 billion loan. Well, what kind of companies can afford that? It's called countries like Ukraine. And if you don't pay it, we know how many natural resources Ukraine has. It's a beautiful place. This is one of the reasons why when you think about Russia, if anybody's listening to this, while you're listening to this on the radio, in your car, in your office, wherever you're at, stop and go to Google and type in country with the most natural resources. Number one on that list is Russia. It's roughly $75 trillion of natural resources that they have access to that these big banks don't have access to. And there's a guy in the way. They have to find a way to eliminate that guy so they can get in and start doing things, except it's tougher to negotiate with Putin than it is to negotiate with a Zelensky. But he's a power player. We know what his background is. We know what the KGB, the experience, everything that he has. But regardless, these banks are interested into these bigger customers that are countries that give them bigger profits.
Patrick, you recently speculated about the possibility of AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, running for president in 2028. When we come back, I want to explore that and the broader question of where you think the Democrat Party might go after the drubbing they took in the most recent election. So, folks, we're talking to Patrick Bet-David of Valuetainment. We'll be back with him very shortly. So, folks, whatever you do, please don't touch that dial because we'll be right back.
This is the Roger Stone Show.
Morning decisions. A creamy mocha frappuccino drink? A sweet vanilla? Maybe a smooth caramel or that white chocolate mocha. Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Start your day with bottled Starbucks Frappuccino drinks. Pick up a bottle near you wherever you buy your groceries.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Not everyone is careful with your personal information, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the US. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. If your identity is stolen, a US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year by visiting lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply. This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Last week was our first playoff game, and my plaque psoriasis was so itchy under all my gear. Sometimes just thinking about scratching could take me out of the moment. And then my doctor told me I could get clearer skin with a pill called Otezla.
Otezla Apremilast is a prescription medicine used to treat adult patients with plaque psoriasis for whom phototherapy or systemic therapy is appropriate. Otezla can help you get clearer skin after just 4 months.
Okay, ready for the next game. Talking to my doctor about a pill was a total game changer.
Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Get medical help right away if you have trouble breathing or swallowing, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, or arms. Severe diarrhea, nausea or vomiting, depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss can happen. Tell your doctor if any of these occur and if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts. Live in the moment. Ask your doctor about Otezla. Call 1-844-4-OTEZLA or visit Otezla.com for prescribing info about cost, and more.
Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, George W. Bush, and Donald Trump.
They went after a guy named Roger Stone, who's sitting in the office. And I'll say this in front of Roger, he's no baby. And right now, he's cleaner than anybody in this place. Now, they treated him very unfairly.
All of these presidents relied on one man to secure their seat in the Oval Office. That man is Roger Stone.
Roger Stone.
This is the Roger Stone Show, presented by Colonial Metals Group. Now, here's Roger Stone.
Welcome back. We're talking to Patrick Bet-David of Valuetainment. And before the break, I asked him about speculation I saw discussed on his show that AOC, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, could be a presidential candidate in 2028. Now, President Donald Trump's election most recently was more than just a testimony to his personal resilience and his stamina and his courage. But there is, I think, a broader realignment going on in this country in which common sense Democrats and independents, people like RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard and Rod Blagojevich, are gravitating to the Republican Party, which today no longer the party of Wall Street, no longer the party of big business, no longer the party of the country club, but now the party of common sense and middle class people. And the Democrat Party seems to be becoming the party of war, the party of censorship, the party of authoritarianism. Patrick, what's your thinking about AOC's prospects? Could this be real? And where do the Democrats go from here?
Well, let's, when we're thinking about AOC, let's first process the fact that Barack Obama just faced the biggest loss in the history of his career. Never has he had a bigger, more publicly humiliating loss than the one he just had. If you just watch his face on any interview or talks that he's given, he sounds concerned, he sounds worried, he sounds embarrassed, and he sounds like the 19-year-old model that once everybody was turned on and everybody was looking at him, and now he's sitting there saying, how come I'm no longer attractive to you guys? Why are you guys no longer flirting with me? Why are you guys no longer telling me that I'm the black Jesus and I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread? How come you guys are no longer just taking, no matter what I said, and believe in me? Why are you guys pushing back a little bit? Why are you guys disagreeing with me? What happened to the good old days that we just told you what to do and you did it? Why don't you guys just get in line? What happened? Don't you remember? I'm your hero. I'm your hero. Well, guess what? That hero of theirs who helped Biden win in 2020 failed miserably in 2024 because all the policies that Biden passed on to the American people, we all know, were processed and negotiated and advised by Barack Obama. And now, 2024, he comes and tries to help out Kamala Harris, and she loses 7 battleground states, 77 million to 74. That is embarrassing on what just took place with Obama. This is not a Kamala Harris loss. This is an Obama loss. So what does that now mean? So imagine all the meetings behind closed doors, right? Imagine all those guys that gave the millions of dollars to Kamala, who Obama said you should give them money. Imagine all those celebrities that George Clooney is now apparently coming out upset with the fact that Barack Obama used him to throw Biden under the bus and kind of wrote an op-ed, which was really apparently written by Barack Obama. And George Clooney sitting there saying, you just ruined my credibility. And all these millionaires and billionaires that gave their money to Kamala Harris. And there is the event where afterwards they're coming in for her to thank all the donors. And she's not at that meeting. And she's in Hawaii just hanging out with her husband. And she gets on a Zoom half apparently inebriated the way you look at the way she sounded, she allegedly was. So the establishment got destroyed on November 5th. And Barack Obama is the leader of the establishment. This opens up an opportunity for anti-establishment candidates. Who is an anti-establishment candidate? AOC is one of them. It doesn't mean they like her. It doesn't mean she's going to get the support of all these guys. It doesn't mean she's going to be able to, go out there and win. That's not what that means. It just means she now is sitting there saying, hey, look what the establishment Democrats did. How much more do you want to get behind these guys? We need a new face. We need new strategies. We need new ideas. We need new thoughts. I could be one of those people for you because it's a very strange season today where there are arguments. Common sense has made a comeback. Bad policies got exposed. Data is revealing that these things that they were selling to Democrats no longer works. And if you look at the most important chart, there's not a single chart that is more important than this one. And I'm sure you've seen this, Roger, is the chart that shows out of our 50 states, how many of them got bluer, how many of them got redder. 50 states, every single state in America in the 2024 election got redder. Every state, and the states that got redder more than other states were New York and California. And what's so interesting about them getting redder, they got redder after losing $1 trillion of assets under management of people that left California for Texas, of people that left California for Nevada, of people that left New York for Tennessee, and of people that left New York for Florida, even after the mass exodus of conservatives, business owners, capitalists. Even after that, New York and California got redder. Bad policies got exposed in 2024, which has opened it up for people like AOC.
I have what I think is a limited amount of political capital. Donald Trump has been a friend of mine, and I've worked for him off and on for 45 years. But among those that I was most aggressive about urging him to appoint was Kash Patel at the FBI, who is an extraordinarily well-qualified individual. As you know, former federal prosecutor who prosecuted over 50 intelligence cases, won every one of them, chief of staff for the Department of Defense. That is a huge management job. Senior counsel to the House Intelligence Committee who investigated the Russian collusion hoax. One final question. I don't know if you saw it this morning. President Donald Trump announced his intention to appoint Vincent Oshana as the Secretary of Comedy. I wondered what you thought his chances of Senate confirmation were.
I think he will be the most entertaining one we've ever seen in the history of press secretaries. We will be glued to him because he'll entertain us. He'll show us his emotions, his fire, his fight. But if that happens, I'll be deeply concerned because Vincent Oshana is on fire right now, creating content and making the world laugh.
I think he could be the greatest Secretary of Comedy this country has ever had. Patrick, where can folks see your great show? Just tell us.
You can just go to YouTube or type in PBD Podcast. And on Twitter, X, YouTube, you can also type in Patrick Bet-David. You'll find us all over the place.
All right. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Patrick Bet-David of Valuetainment joining us today on The Roger Stone Show. God bless you, my friend, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Crazy about a shark.